Hello and welcome to the Abandoned Beers podcast. It's the only podcast that's out here matching your favorite bands with our favorite beers. You guys know me. I'm Pat Zapp, and usually I take care of the introductions, but we're actually having a special guest who, kind of bullied his way into this. So please welcome our guest introductionist. Yes, hello. My name is Jesse Ventura, and on top of being a former Navy SEAL and the governor of Minnesota, I am a known advocate for exposing conspiracy theories throughout the nation. And if you're looking for conspiracies, look no further than the Abandoned Beers podcast. All you have to do is take a look at the alleged host, Pat Zapp, and a pseudonym he used to hide his deep ties to the Illuminati, the New World Order, and the World Economic Forum. When Pat Zapp's not charading as a podcaster, he's deep within the hollow earth, a reptilian drinking the adrenochrome from children who have been abducted and in an attempt to manipulate the global government. And then if you look to my right, you'll see Dan McHenry. Dan McHenry is one of the largest and most well-known financial manipulators the first world has ever seen. He's a Warren Buffett protege and has his hands in everything from the fall of the Krugerrand to the Zimbabwe hyperinflation. Dan is currently involved in a cryptocurrency scheme for cats and dogs and smarter birds to use. Dan, why don't you explain yourself?
Hey, how's it going, Jesse the Body Ventura?
Yeah, why don't you tell me, Dan, since you were there, since you're such a patriot, why don't you just sit back and allow me to introduce this other guy, Dusty Swartz, who's one of the most deadly and dangerous political assassins the world has ever known. Dusty is the phone call that you make when your political enemies start to know too much. They have a fall or an accident or a bout of depression. All you have to do is look at the kill list from everybody from Vince Foster to Ron Brown to John F. Kennedy Jr., Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's guard, Jeffrey Epstein's accountant, and a man named Jeffrey Epstein who had no relation to the actual Jeffrey Epstein. It was kind of like one of those situations in The Terminator where the Terminator is looking for Sarah Connor. Dusty, why don't you explain yourself?
Hey everyone, I am Dusty, and I do get wet without even trying.
Ooh.
This is the Abandoned Beers podcast, and they're here to make you drink beer and discover musical conspiracies and make you feel sad and drink beer and stuff. And they're just about ready to get rocking and rolling and cracking and drinking. Not me, though. I have been on prescription blood thinners for multiple years. That's why I exposed that liar, Chris Kyle, for being a liar. He defamed me, and I proved it in court.
Knock 3 times if you... What is that?
That was
song?
Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yes, he was,
guys.
yes.
The governor of Minnesota.
Yeah, wow, he was
What an intro.
He's been doing podcasts a lot lately.
Has
so,
he? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. That's a good get by us then.
the nice little crossover event.
Yeah. Are we under attack?
I thought that
we
was
might
Jesse
be.
Ventura. I thought that was
I
planned.
mean, yeah.
There is a groundhog problem in the neighborhood, so maybe that's part of the problem.
Yeah. Well, we're here. We are Abandoned Beers. We're doing another episode. I love it. Dan, the former governor, got us all out of whack. Why don't you get us back on track and explain to the people what we're doing here today?
All right. Abandoned Beers is a podcast where we choose a band every week or a group. We found out last week it could be a group as well.
Yeah, it can be groups now.
We each choose a beer that we think best represents that band. It could be where the brewery is located. It could be the taste. It could be the label. Anything that reminds you of that band you think best represents that band. We're going to all taste that beer. We're going to have a vote, and we're going to determine what beer is that band.
Absolutely. Dusty, we dove into our first group last
Yes, we
episode
did,
was
yeah.
TLC. Abandoned Beers first.
Yeah.
You lost and then won.
Yeah, that was a hell of a comeback story. I think we were all inspired by it. Maybe that's like influenced a little bit of who we're doing today.
Well, because it's a rotating pick
Mm-hmm.
of who gets to choose, and you guys went ladies, you guys went 90s. It was out of our comfort realm.
Mm-hmm.
And
I felt pretty comfortable, but that's just me.
Oh, okay, yeah. I forgot you were like at heart you're an R&B.
Oh, yeah.
Smooth,
Love
cool
to turn
guy.
down the lights, get the candles lit,
Yep.
and just let the music take you where you want to go.
Yeah. So I chose this week's group, and I wanted to just have a Abandoned Beers classic.
Is this a group?
That's a good question,
Ooh.
and I hope we find out because mired in controversy, deep in conspiracy.
Oh boy.
One of rock and roll's most interesting figures, without a doubt. Today, we're going to be discovering what band is Andrew W.K.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew W.K.
I have one friend whose friend, our guitar player, Frank, has a friend who pulled a guy's head off once in a fight.
Remember, at the end of the day, the good things that you think about yourself will come true.
Everybody says no one wins. What will you do when the end begins? When the angel makes dismay and sorrow.
Hello, I'm Andrew W.K. Welcome to Beyond the Destruction!
You will experience pain and withstand it. You will fall and get back up again. You will party and party hard.
You guys, that's Andrew W.K. And dude, that rocks. Songs all about partying, songs all about positivity, songs all about having fun. I love Andrew W.K.
I was really excited to do this solo artist. I love opening the door for us to do future work like Celine Dion.
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
You guys, I'll be busy that week. I know there's a lot to jump into. We have, of course, the history of this, and that's going to be
right.
a thing to tackle. We're going to get through all the albums. Hopefully that one goes quick. And then, personal life and trauma and origins and all these things. But what we're going to have to find out is what beer this guy is, and I'll get it started.
Yeah, let's do it.
I was thinking about Andrew W.K., and, I was thinking about partying. That's all I was thinking about. I was just thinking about, having good times and having fun. And Andrew W.K. opens up the world of partying.
Yes, he did.
Just to, what partying is and what party can be. It's not, necessarily about doing drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
But when I think about partying, I think about, red Solo cups. I think about ice. I think about music. And I think about old, reliable, Natty Light.
Oh boy.
It's been a staple at every party I've ever been in. Not that anyone likes it or
No.
anyone cares for it, but it's always there. It always shows up. And when you need it, a cheap beer, when you need it, something that was going to get you to the end of the night for your party, Natty Ice was there.
Yeah, if you drink Natty Light, I think you will make it to the end of the party because
Oh, yeah.
it's not it's a king of light beers.
I didn't make it to the end of the night, the party. I mean, I had to leave to go throw up a couple times after some multiple rounds of Natty Light.
And hey,
but-
look, I'm no monster. If you guys want, I bought, a spare beer that you can drink. Instead, if you can just trust your memory to know what exactly Natty Light tastes like.
I will let the taste just like bring back a
So
lot
this
of
is
sense
an
memories for me.
Anheuser-Busch brand, huh?
Yeah.
I'm seeing the A with the eagle on it, so pretty cool. Natural Light. And this can is like a classic kind of. I don't remember it looking like this ever. Whenever I drank it.
Right, yeah. It
I
was
do
that,
remember the logo.
Silver style more.
Yeah.
But here we are, holiday weekend, you know.
It's fine.
We got the day off, and we're, remembering all
Yeah.
the things that, make us free in this world. And I'm remembering my youth, my childhood, my early 2000s, where, without fail, every party I came across had this bad boy. It was usually either the first one you drank or the last one you drank, last man standing. You couldn't have a party without a little Natty Light,
Natty
especially
Light.
in my early 2000s. A staple to this day, $10.99 for a 15-pack. Cheap, affordable, indiscriminatory. Everybody can get a taste.
I think what I like about the most about it is that it ruined how much like beer should cost for me for the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime I see a 6-pack, I'm like, by God, $20.
Yeah,
I just go back to
we
like,
were
the 30
spoiled by the
racks.
prices of Natty Light
Yeah.
and Old Milwaukee, the Beast, all those nice cheap beers. That
I'm getting a corn syrup and chocolate flavor
Yes.
from.
There's notes of it. I'm
it
I'm
goes
picking
well
them
with
up.
this beer, I'd say. Yeah.
But man, ice cold memories, boys.
Yeah.
Just remembering how much I love partying, how much I love just like getting together with
Life's a
drinks
party,
and
yeah.
music, and trying to incorporate partying, the party lifestyle, into your everyday occurrence. To live like you are constantly partying, the way Andrew W.K. does, with positivity and friendship, and just trying to be a better person and trying to help people.
I was doing a lot of research, and there's like lots of intrigue around Andrew WK, and some of the stories you got, because I wonder if you guys remember, but like when he was first like doing that tour in the early aughts, he would couch surf. He wouldn't like book a hotel. He would like stay over people's houses. So like if you were like on top of it, you could be like, "Hey, I'm going to your show. Do you want to stay at my house?" And he would say yes. So like this way, it saves him some money. And then you have Andrew WK. And there's this one kid who wrote a story online, like on some like Reddit page about Andrew, where he was like, not only did he stay over the night, but his next show got canceled. So he stayed with us for 3 days. And it was like, I could not party enough for him. And like eventually I had to go back to class, and I was like, "Hey man, I gotta go." And like Andrew was willing to stay for a little bit longer. And I was like, I think you gotta go. It was like they needed to move on with their lives. They couldn't keep up with Andrew WK, which
Yeah.
actually I don't know how true that story is, but I do know he couch surfed, and it must have been
Yeah.
a blast to hang out with him like that.
And I mean, more than any other band, we're gonna have to decipher what's true and what isn't, because
There's a lot out there.
there's a lot out there. And in the world of conspiracies, it's always funner to believe than to not.
Yeah.
But that it's not always the best way to go. That ends up hurting a lot of people. You forget that people in these stories, they're the real people, feelings just like you and me. So why don't we crack open this case and see if we can get to the bottom of it.
All right, let's start with our wiki description, real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Andrew Federley Wilkes Cryer, known professionally as Andrew W.K., is an American conceptual performance artist,
Yeah, I think that's what he is.
a rock singer, a multi-instrumentalist,
Yeah.
record
for sure.
producer, and an actor.
Motivational speaker.
He was raised in Michigan. He began his musical career in the mid-'90s.
Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Yeah, yeah.
His father is a professor there.
One of the party capitals of the world, I would say.
Yeah.
Never got invited there, but I've heard good things. Shout out to our buddy Mikey. He performed in a number of local bands before eventually moving to New York, where he produced his first recordings under the Andrew W.K. moniker.
I love the phrasing they're doing. It's going to fit in nicely.
And then after gaining initial attention with the 2000 EP Girls Own Juice, Andrew W.K. rose to prominence with the release of his debut studio album, I Get Wet, in November 2001.
So the first bit of folklore that I uncovered is that Andrew W.K., as Andrew W.K., goes out on tour for the first time, opening up for the Foo Fighters. Apparently was handpicked by Dave Grohl to come out and perform the early stuff of I Get Wet before I Get Wet had been recorded. Before, there was a band attached. So Andrew would kind of go out with his piano and a backing track and sort of just
Dun, 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 dun.
open up the show for the Foo Fighters. And I guess that's where the legend starts, that possibly, potentially, Dave Grohl, who wrote every song on the original Foo Fighters record, was actually the one who wrote the first Andrew W.K. record and then just wanted somebody to perform it.
I could see that if you're comparing the rest of the Andrew W.K. albums.
Catalog
I think,
after
yeah,
that,
I
yeah.
think that is his greatest album, the I Get Wet that came out in 2001.
That's for sure.
Um,
And at that point in time, too, it looks like that album is, I mean, it's definitely, as a concept album, like the character of Andrew W.K. is kind of created. Although mostly it probably is completely influenced by who Andrew is, and I think that's really obvious through all the motivational speaking. You know, like, he wouldn't have been able to do that, and we're going to get into those trials and tribulations about why he had to even do motivational speaking and not performing in a little bit, I imagine.
Ooh, he had to do a motivational
He
speaking.
had to.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's definitely. I think I got to the bottom of all the, or at least like I'm gonna give my conspiracy theory after reading all of them, and there was.
Why don't you tell me, since you're such a patriot? I was there, Dusty. I served my country twice as a Navy SEAL and as the governor of Minnesota. So why don't you tell me?
You know, before I realized that was like former governor Jesse Ventura visiting us, I thought you were doing, or I thought that was Andrew W.K. Very similar voice.
Is there a chance that Jesse Ventura
Welcome
was
to
one
the
of the
Abandoned Beers podcast. This is Andrew W.K.
Well,
And
he has more of this kind of thing. He does. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he was one of the actors portraying Andrew W.K. at some point.
I was in The Predator, Dan. I had the line about the tobacco turning you into a sexual Tyrannosaurus Rex, where my arms were actually bigger than Arnold Schwarzenegger's. I saw it in the wardrobe department.
I guess that's probably true.
Arnold faked. He wrote a smaller number on his arm so that Ventura would think he had bigger arms. It
Oh,
was an
really?
elaborate prank by the Schwarzenegger.
How about that? Is anybody finding Natural Light to go down way too easy?
Oh yeah, this is great. I'm
Come on, what are
enjoying
you
it.
talking
It's
about?
ice cold.
Ice cold memories, baby.
I'm just getting in the mood.
Being at a party and just
Let's get some
drinking
cards
these
out, guys.
nonstop.
Oh,
and,
but
yeah.
then they hurt, bro. They hurt
yeah.
the next day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Just
not
like
what
it
I'll talk about the
hurts
next
after
day.
you listen to Andrew W.K., dude, and you're just bomb, bomb, bomb. My neck just can't handle it anymore.
I was so happy to like relive it, and
You
then
don't get
very
old.
confused, and then I needed to do so much research on this one.
You don't get too old to party. You get old because you stop partying.
Yeah,
How about
never
that?
never stop partying, guys.
Yeah.
Did he ever release a book? He should have if he has a lot of sayings. I don't know.
I don't think so.
No.
All right. I'll
He
talk
had
to his agent.
own television show.
Yeah, I
on
remember
the
that.
Cartoon Network.
Yeah, he sure did.
Nice.
Build, destroy, build, or something like that.
Yeah, where you'd destroy something,
Yeah.
build something out of the parts, and then take the thing you built and then blow it up again.
Interesting.
Yeah. And no, I
Yeah.
don't want to get too far ahead of us, but also married to Kat Dennings, or at least engaged.
He's engaged right now. I don't.
Yeah.
I got a bone to pick with him about that. So,
Uh-oh.
she's
Philly's own.
she's my physique wise. She's my
Mm.
right up my alley. So
Hey, I don't know who doesn't like that, Ellie.
yeah. Yeah, so to wrap up my Wikipedia description, genres that are listed for his music are hard rock,
Yep.
heavy metal,
Yeah.
alternative rock,
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
alternative metal,
Alternative metal. All right.
Yeah. and
Piano,
pop
it's
metal.
Alternative. Yeah.
pop metal. Yeah,
Okay.
I could hear some of his songs being in the
At least
in
that
the
first
hair metal
album.
80s time period. So
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I think we're, since we're finishing up our beers pretty quickly here, I think we're ready to take a quick break and get another beer going, eh?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, how about you need more time to defrost your beers, or
Oh no, they're ready to go. I'm gonna keep
All
them
right.
ice cold for you boys.
All right, let's
Let's
we'll
clean up
dust.
and
Yeah.
get back to Andrew W.K.
All right.
You have the ability to roll with the punches. You have the ability to get back up when you fall. You have the ability to overcome obstacles and to appreciate it. You have the ability to keep on going.
All right, we're back, and like you, Pat, I want to get back to what Andrew WK is all about, and that's like individualism, feeling happy, being himself, and partying. And whatever that means, partying to you, whether that doesn't mean drinking, that doesn't mean dancing, doesn't mean doing drugs. It's a spirit of living is what Andrew WK is all about. And when I go back to our early days when we first heard Andrew WK, I also thought about like how we used to party. What was like our true spirit animal of how we were partying?
Yeah.
And we came up with a concept, too. Much like his original concept album. Ours was Champagne Party.
Yeah.
So I went the original Miller High Life.
Dang, bro.
Champagne of beers. Woo.
The champagne of beers. The
Twist
Miller
off
High
bottles.
Life.
Can't beat that.
That's right. So we used to do this little thing called champagne parties.
What was a champagne party?
Well, there was a number of them, 1 through 5. I can't remember all the titles off the top of my head.
I think I can.
Yeah. Let's see.
Champagne Party, The Good, the Bad, and the Bubbly.
Mm-hmm.
Champagne Party 2, The Reckoning. Champagne Party 3 was Secret of the Booze.
Secret of the Booze. That's
Champagne Party 4 was Real Pain for my... Champagne for my real friends. Real Pain for my fake friends.
right. Yeah. My sham friends. There
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. And then there was an elusive 6th one that never happened.
Yeah. So we used to have each of us a bottle of champagne, but of course, if we kept that up throughout the whole night, no one was making it to the end of that party. And so then we would switch to Miller High Life. It was also probably more thrifty of us.
And it was the champagne of beers.
Yeah, and it's the champagne of beers. We would all be wearing like thrift store suits
The
or
dress code
tuxedos.
was my favorite part.
Ah.
I only attended one of these parties, but I wore a shirt and tie, and I was, my parents were like, "What the hell? What are you doing? This is a Saturday night, and you're going out in a shirt and tie." It's
Yeah.
like, Mom, leave me alone. I'm underage drinking.
My favorite memory of this was obviously when Pat threw up on a person. That was the best.
Ooh.
Yep.
We like barely knew her at the time too. It was classic.
Rachel Jensen. I'm still sorry. But you were not adhering to the dress code, and you were the only person that got thrown up on, so kind of out of my hands.
So there was a vendetta to the throw up.
Things happen the way they happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
It's fate, some might say.
I would say besides like our own history is why made me think that High Life is Andrew WK. It's also a beer that I think was like it had its true heyday in the 70s. This classic long neck shape of the bottle. Probably fell out for a little while. And like I don't know if it ever really came back, to tell you the truth.
We brought it back.
Yeah, and I think like it has its moments.
That was my big introduction to Miller High Life was the champagne parties. So.
Right.
And then I always wanted to replicate it and never was able to do it. Out of I didn't want to be a poser more than anything else. So.
Yeah, it's honestly you have great memories of it, and I think Andrew, through his trials and tribulations of his discography and various levels of success, what I came to recognize him most for, even through listening to it, wasn't I Get Wet, but it's those last 2 albums. I think he really started to feel himself again, and he's still making music. In 2021 is God is Dead, and or whatever. What's it?
Yeah.
It's partying.
Oh,
Yeah.
God is partying. Come on, he's not
God is
dead. He's partying.
And maybe that's just like my own Freudian slip there.
Yeah.
Are you saying Andrew W.K. is dead?
Well,
There's
he's
a-
definitely
there-
the
there's a
picture of him
conspiracy
on
for
the
it.
on the album cover is him like laying in a
gutter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that album, actually, he starts to. So he made a lot of things happen, and we're gonna get into it. But like these last 2 albums, he's starting to have this '80s kind of metal sound, as opposed to like more of just like the metal that I Get Wet was. And I think he really started to come into his own. There's actually some songs I'm really happy to have discovered and really paid attention to now.
Okay.
And that's what I like about Miller High Life is like you can still come back. Maybe it's never going to be quite the same ever again. Even drinking it now, I'm like, I prefer the natural light, perhaps.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not tasting much of a difference between the two right now. I feel like I just finished up the Natty Light, opened up another bottle, and getting a very similar.
It's a similar
taste.
vibe. Definitely, our heads were in the same.
I don't know.
Same ballpark on this one.
And it's another beer you can drink
Yeah.
multiples of, and goes down smooth.
I don't know what rich people do.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when a rich person wants to drink for the first time, I don't know if their first drink is like a Belvedere martini or, they get drunk on Dom Perignon.
It's got to be like
or something for the first time.
Their butlers
But
buying it or something.
This was underage drinking for us in our socio-economical group. It was just like, oh, there's going to be a party. There's going to be burgers and dogs, and there's going to be Miller High Life floating around. Natty Ices are going to be there. Like,
these were definitely the biggest like parties that we threw.
Right.
Because like there was underage drinking happened, but in terms of like a movie high school party, this was it as far as us. Like, we never handed out invitations as far as I can remember. Like nothing that we Xeroxed. But like this was the closest we can get. Like the nerd girl showed up with her glasses. She took it off. She became beautiful. It was really like that was the kind of vibe we were setting.
Who was that?
Well, you had to be
I
there,
don't
Dan.
remember. Okay, yeah, you're right.
You're only
I
at
was
the
only
one.
at one of the 5 champagne parties. so.
the prettiest girl in school showed up, and she came in slow motion, and all the music.
Everybody
cued,
stops.
She had recently broken up with her jock boyfriend.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah, man. But there was actually I think somebody was there who used to like tutor her, kind of like we're like study buddies.
Oh,
We'll see. Maybe I think that a flame did erupt.
interesting. So I think we're 2 for 2 right now with party beers, Natty Light and Miller High Life.
Yeah.
It's gonna make a tough vote later.
Yeah. So, do we want to run through some of the? So we know about I Get Wet.
I Get Wet, dude.
And
I
like,
Get Wet.
close to a perfect album. I wouldn't say everything's on there.
Songs on that album. Party Hard, which I think that is the quintessential Andrew W.K. song.
Disagree.
Party Hard. Whoa, all right. She is beautiful. I serenade my wife with that sometimes. It doesn't go over well, but I try. This album was recorded with his whole band. It was not just him.
Oh, and like 40 other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks on this album.
Yep. But from here on out, he would start albums afterwards. He would record everything on his own.
I'm going to say something, and you guys know me. I'm hyperbolic.
Yeah.
Sometimes I say outrageous things just to be outrageous. It's Time to Party might be the perfect song.
That is a good one. Yeah.
It's 1:30. I wish it was an hour 30. I love it so much. I just wish it was just always playing everywhere all at once.
So should we have had that on loop at some point when we were drinking and just seeing how long we could have gone listening to it?
Look,
maybe?
that's if you wanted to make me happy.
I mean, like that could certainly lead to an early night for all of us. Like that kind of energy for more than 90 seconds, I think that would have some devastating results.
Yes.
But I kept putting on I Get Wet, and then that was the first track, and it just lights my whole body up. My brain starts releasing endorphins.
Oh, there it is.
I start moving around. I get happy. I'm pumping it up. Oh, I'm smiling, dude. I'm having a great time anytime it's time to party.
I put this album on for my 8-year-old son and daughter. I wanted to see how they would react to songs about partying, and they didn't get it. They're so immature.
They will. When they're ready to party, they will.
One day, eventually.
Ready to Die is a hardcore song that's, out of the party realm, but still intense and awesome.
Yeah.
I like Party Till You Puke because
Party Till
I
You
relate to that. I've partied plenty of times and puked at the end of the night. So.
I Get Wet is better than It Has Any Right Being.
I love I Get Wet.
I Get Wet so good.
Yeah, I do. It's so good. She is beautiful, and I love New York City. I don't even like New York City. I like that song. Normally, that kind of thing would turn me off.
Were you guys cranking that when you were living in New York City?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was a point in time in our lives too, where Andrew W.K. had opened a bar in New York, so we got to spend our fair share with
You
Andy.
guys were going to that one.
Yeah, Santos
was
Party
that
House.
when Pete Wentz opened up his own bar too?
Yeah,
in New
Angels
York?
and Sinners.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like right on the same time period.
You guys were living the dream up there. That's
Yeah,
why you love New York.
all of our punk pop icons.
And so apparently this album comes out after the September 11th attacks. And there was like some dispute of like, we don't know if we can have a guy going out there just
yeah,
being fun and talking about partying. Like, we're still kind of in mourning as a nation.
If anything, it should have been the opposite, where we needed to come out of our morning
Andrew
stage.
WK was
We
there
needed the party.
when we needed him.
Exactly.
well, I think that was definitely a hindsight thing. Like we were like, can't let terrorists win. We got to keep partying hard.
That's right.
Yep.
Like I think it took a couple weeks for us to get that message.
Yeah. So, anything else on I Get Wet? I can run through the rest of the albums. real
Everything
quick.
else on I Get Wet, man.
Dude, it's so
That's
fun.
the album. That is his quintessential album.
Yeah. And you know what? Shortly after, the Jackass movie comes out.
Yep.
Andrew W.K. on the soundtrack with We Want Fun,
That's right.
which is just like a perfect hybrid. It's like a complete, it's a yin-yang symbol if both of the circle is yin. Because the Jackass dudes and Andrew W.K. in the video for We Want Fun. Perfect.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And, you just go like, man, absolutely incredible. Andrew W.K. took the world by storm. He was in every press release of like the guy who's saving rock and roll and Mr. Positivity and here's this guy. His follow-up record's got to be amazing. It's got to be like a party and even harder. He's got to double down. He's got to like do it.
I know.
And then The Wolf comes out.
Yeah. Maybe he cracked under the pressure. I don't know. If
Or-
it's just one guy.
Different. Yeah, there was maybe different folks involved.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how does this start?
The Andrew WK is dead.
The Andrew W.K. conspiracy theory that he's multiple people.
Yeah. Well,
That he's Santa Claus in that you could just put on the outfit and go and show up and you're Andrew W.K. for the...
according to Andrew, he says it's probably because he's like wearing white tees. He's long brown hair, and that look is easy to duplicate.
Sure.
He's like, there's a lot of people out there who could easily look like that.
I'm looking at somebody who's trying to portray that look right now.
I was definitely thinking I was more of like an Obi-Wan, and like the 3 new series is what I've been going for. I guess
Okay.
like that Attack of the Clones vibe
Yeah,
is
yeah.
really what
I
I'm
like
going
the
for.
new series. I think the new series is good.
Yeah.
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 It's fun to see Obi-Wan back.
That's true. I really like Obi-Wan.
And we got over how much we hated the prequels.
And so Nicole and I recently just finished up rewatching them all.
Mm-hmm.
The prequels are good.
Nicole has never seen a movie.
Yeah, maybe. Well, she's
Another
she's head down
conspiracy theory.
puzzling
Yeah.
as we're doing this, but the prequels are way better than like the 3 new ones.
They're not.
Oh, way better. They're actually pretty good. They had the best lightsaber battles in all of them by far.
They did.
Okay, but they're supposed to be set eons in the past.
Eons.
Yeah.
Nah, it's like 30 years before.
Right. So then the ultimate lightsaber battle between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan
Obi-Wan.
Kenobi
Yeah.
is just like a boing, boing.
Oh, you mean like
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
at the
The
on
tech-
the Death Star?
The technology wasn't
Yeah,
there.
they got old and they didn't like.
The
they were all out
technology
of
wasn't there
practice.
for filmmaking.
That's really what happened.
Yeah.
But like the Obi-Wan, Anakin
They
fight.
talk.
on
They're
that.
in the Senate talking about federal trade regulations. They're so purposely they're boring for no reason.
but
They're
that-
kids movies, and they're just like.
What about the lightsaber fight between
Darth
Yoda,
Maul,
Yoda and
Senator Palpatine?
Yeah,
that was
amazing.
fun. Where then like they're doing all the Force
Yeah.
strikes at each
Oh,
other.
yeah.
That
You
was
couldn't
like-
do that back in the 70s.
So then I
and
threw
early
the
80s.
Senate at
So
him.
I threw the Senate.
Yeah. Threw the Senate at him.
And that's how democracy dies.
That's right.
With
Yeah,
roaring
so-
applause.
Close calls with brick walls. comes out in 2006. That's the next Andrew WK album, or am I speaking out of turn? There were some foreign releases. He would throw like there would be EPs that would come out.
Yeah, in Japan, he had
Yeah.
like a pretty. I don't know but maybe he was big in Japan and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. There.
Well, this is when like his legal trouble started happening.
So the first story I ever heard was that he was booked at a club, and there was some sort of situation with like a fire marshal, the capacity. For whatever reason, the show gets held up, but the people in attendance and the owner of the club goes, I don't know what's going on, but the guy on stage isn't Andrew WK. And I don't think it's like super out of the realm of possibility that like if you went to go see Aerosmith or whatever and Steven Tyler just wasn't there that day, someone else would like pop up, but like you'd know it. But Andrew WK has an outfit. So like, someone could dress up and potentially it's just like,
Or
hey man, maybe no one will notice.
Yeah, like Slash doesn't show up, so someone's like, put on that. We got some goofy top hats and glasses here, and here's a wig. Can you play the guitar? Yes. Just play these songs real quick.
And if you know how to play guitar, you love Slash, so you probably know all the Slash parts. So you're fine.
There you are.
I'll also admit that vocally he sounds a little different from album to album, or certain songs I pick up on him sounding a little differently than what I remember. Maybe that's
There's
the
the conjecture there. Well, it's also it's possible.
Yes.
Is that he tries to start saving his voice because he's having trouble speaking after all the screaming and like what he's doing. So he wants to. He makes a choice to not do that anymore.
And in I Get Wet, they incorporate the piano, which is that alt metal thing. Piano is usually not in a lot of metal rock songs.
He was a virtuoso on the piano.
That's
too,
right. Yeah.
And the piano becomes a huge deal in all the other albums where it was only just a bit player in the original ones.
But I'm going to say Close Calls with Brick Walls is my second favorite Andrew WK album.
Yeah, kind of. Okay.
Not Going to Bed is my favorite song on that album.
I mean, that's a song for 10-year-olds, but that's fine.
That's my mindset. Yes.
It's getting, it's definitely, I was getting David Lee Roth vocal vibes on this first track. Like, I Came For You. He started to go in this, 80s direction.
Vocally. All right. Let me bring something up to the two of you guys. Does he remind you of James Dewey from Reggie in The Full Effect? I kept listening, and I would be like, this sounds like Reggie for a little bit.
Well, I think the songs are so different.
Well, not like, I'm just saying vocally.
I know.
He just kind of reminds me of Reggie a little bit.
Andrew WK has always reminded me of Ron Scott.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
Ron
especially
Scott,
hearing Ron, thinking that.
That's
A
the way
guy-
Ron Scott sings.
Because he
guy
does
who-
the man,
we went to high school with,
Yeah.
played music.
He probably doesn't listen.
and
He doesn't
might not
return my
listen.
text messages.
yeah.
He has one of the greatest songs ever written. Come On.
Was that a 5 Pie song?
No.
No.
From Come On, All the Girls I Know Throw Up, the song Come On is one of the greatest
Interesting.
songs I've ever heard.
But when I was listening to...
Come on! All the girls I know!
When I was listening, I kept taking notes and writing that. It kept reminding me of James Dewey, so I guess it's just me.
I had Man Man in my notes because that was a thing around the same time as this album. Sort of this noise rock kind of thing started happening.
Crazy, just on purpose, yeah.
Yeah. He's an artist, Andrew.
Do we want to take any time to talk about the next album, 55 Cadillac?
I don't think so.
It
No,
is
he's
a
just-
piano
He
album.
just plays pianos for
That's right.
10 tracks. I didn't get it.
So this is the center of the legal trouble he was going through, which I think led to all these other conspiracies.
Because there's a group of people called Steve Mike.
Steve Mike, yeah.
Yeah, Steve Mike.
Steve Mike is a group of people who potentially they own part or
They're saying that Andrew WK is a concept.
they're involved in the
Yeah.
ownership of the Andrew WK brand, I guess is the best way to say it.
And the image, they created the image, it's just they're using his name, but the party persona, everything they kind of created.
Has there ever been anything like that? Does someone own Michael Jackson?
Well,
can
actually,
you-
yeah. No. Somebody does own his music rights now.
Yeah,
at this point,
I get
yes.
that part, but have can you own a?
Well, think about the boy bands.
It
and
depends
stuff.
on what
Yeah.
kind of contract you
Right.
signed.
Because I'm a giant wrestling fan, and the Ultimate Warrior was something that was created in the World Wrestling Federation, so that guy couldn't go be the Ultimate Warrior somewhere else.
Right.
Even though he was the Ultimate Warrior,
Yeah.
he couldn't be the Ultimate, so he legally changed his name.
I think that's very similar to what's going on here. There's a gag order on the case, so we don't really know the details. You had to kind of read between the lines of all these interviews. There's like a real wild conspiracy website that's 90 pages long. I've read, I would say, 2/3 of it, and it was like it was a complete insanity at some points.
You talk about going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, and these legal issues led him to go to Japan where the trademarks weren't enforced there, so he can go and perform, and that's why it started to make sense that he had a following there.
Okay.
And he made a lot of anime music for like those kind of things.
Pretty cool.
And then that's why he also started doing.
Cool as an anime guy.
Yeah.
I believe it. Yeah.
And he also has like, did he get like bicep surgery? Do you think? I don't know what's.
No,
going
I think
on
he's
with
just he bulked up.
it. Yeah, but it's like his biceps are like just.
Is this something
got
you've
big
looked
buys.
into yourself? Or?
I know it's a thing. No, I'm not
Okay.
judging him.
Yeah.
I'm saying you're allowed to look wherever you want to look.
Yeah.
But I'm like his biceps, just his buys, are so improportional to the rest of his arms and body. And I'm like, what did you do? One, have a leg day.
Doing that.
And maybe
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's just
Lot
from
of
the
partying.
fist pumping.
Yeah.
He has a party extreme workout video that's very funny.
Oh, that's pretty fun. Yeah.
Nice.
So he gets into legal trouble a little bit, and that's why he releases albums like this, because then it's clearly his music as Andrew,
Right.
right? And no one else can claim this.
Gotcha. 2009 was when that came out. We don't see another, official album until 2018. You're Not Alone. I enjoyed the first two songs. There was like an intro song,
Yeah.
and then Music Is Worth Living For. I think that's like the mantra of my life.
Yeah.
Music is worth living for. Music is life to me. So I really I had never heard that song until we started researching this, and
Right.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Ever Again has like positive like 80s Rocky movie vibes
Yeah.
too. It's like he's transversing the type of partying that he's always been preaching to. It's not just like high school, college, like frat parties anymore. Now this is like 80s parties, which might be the peak of all partying.
Yeah. I thought Andrew W.K. was done with music. I'd never heard these albums before.
Same.
He shows up on an MC Chris song called Never Give Up, and it's very enjoyable. But other than that,
Yeah.
I didn't really enjoy
Here's the thing.
anything
He's
off
been
of...
in some of my notes. He's been a guest lecturer at Oxford University on the philosophy of partying. He discussed his signature message of positive power and celebratory self-confidence. And Oxford University Rock Society issued a statement that said, "We've seen rock stars, we've seen brilliant public speakers, but rarely are they the same persona, and rarely do they have intriguing and broad a background as Andrew W.K." That kind of comment with all the conspiracy stuff going out there, it kind of makes my antennas are up a little bit there.
It's I think it's clear there is a persona happening, but who owns it? Is this still Andrew? And like, can he just not? No one can be partying all the time.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm so tired
He's
of
just so
partying.
tired of partying.
It's
And
Slim
then,
McKenzie.
the
Exactly.
same year that this
where I was
album
going.
came out, he was named the Person of the Year by the American Association of Suicidology due to his consistent and powerful use of positivity to improve the lives of those who hear his music.
Yeah, remember he would publish his phone number, or he let people call him if they were feeling down, that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
he did a lot of fun things. He was a cool dude.
So, I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's kind of like Jesus Christ, Santa Claus, Andrew W.K.
Yeah.
It's not really whether or not the person really exists. It's the positive things you take away from their message.
Speaking of Jesus, his last album, 2021, is called God is Partying.
God is partying.
And the album cover is him, looks to be passed out in a gutter after partying. Does that mean the party's over?
I think the party's just getting started
just
again.
getting started. Okay.
I
all
think
right.
he at some point must have regained control of his image, and it probably was around the 2018 album. And then this one, I love it. It's really starts to be wild. Like, I love that song Babylon. No
Yeah,
one
that
to
was
know. I'm in heaven. It's like, it's great. It's all crazy, but I think it
Yeah.
rules. And I
No.
love the way he's embracing his life. He's having fun.
Everybody Sins. That was my favorite song off that album.
Didn't like it. Anything on it other than Not Anymore, which is a bonus track. Track 11 was the only one that I really that got my interest. Didn't like anything. I don't like Andrew WK besides I Get Wet. There's nothing on here. For me.
Wow, bold statement.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I think. How would you listen? What was like? Were you in a bad mood? Do you think when you're listening to this? Were you ready to hear it?
Well,
He wasn't partying.
So I would listen to I Get Wet, and then I try and listen to the other albums, and it's just like, that thing. Don't spit on my cupcake and tell me it's frosting. Don't tell me this is Andrew WK. I just listen to Andrew WK. I know what Andrew WK sounds like, and this ain't it. This ain't it, boss.
Yeah, he never goes back to it.
He never goes back to
But
it.
it changes, and I like the journey he's on.
Sure.
I
don't.
My original beer thesis was about, like, I was like, this is sad to me that this happened this way. But then, like, I was like, as I re-listened, I'm like, I really enjoyed seeing and like learning more about that kind of legal issues. That he persisted, he persevered, and he found a way to make new partying albums that are his, and he's like his sound, which is, I'm guessing, is a departure from the metal Steve Mike influence.
Yep. And I guess it's my own fault because, I have a very rigid definition of partying.
Mm-hmm.
And I should expand that into, how
Can I give
how
you
it works.
his official definition of what a party is?
I'd love to hear it.
All right, a party, in some ways, is an event that involves active expressions of gratitude and celebration regarding something specific, whether it's a holiday, the weekend, or whatever. But in the larger sense, or the simpler sense, you can party about the ultimate event, which is just being alive. In that way, it's a mindset that is continuous. It is my desperate struggle and effort to live that way. That's Andrew W.K.'s words on what a party is.
He does have a way with words. I'll give it to him.
I dig it.
Yeah, he fit that motivational speaker mold so well. Yeah. It's like, when it was happening, I remember like, oh, I wish he would sing, but I would go listen to him do this.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right. I'm ready to have my beer. I've already drank my Miller High Life. I'm ready for a third beer already. We've been partying pretty hard so far, drinking-wise, this episode. So I think we're ready for one more, fellas.
Let's do it. Crack and open.
Be brave. Be courageous. Stay focused. Do your work. Let the doubts come, and then let them go, and return to focus. You're doing fantastic.
All right, we're back. I've taken my usual long list of notes beforehand when I was choosing a beer. I wanted to find a party beer. Is there a beer, after having just discussed the definition of partying, is there a beer that makes you feel alive? I found a party beer company in Southern California. It's an actual brewing company. They are the official craft beer of LAFC, which is a MLS soccer team, which I hate with a passion. Yeah. So I immediately shut that down. Yeah. That's a big no for me. They just beat the Union in the MLS Cup last year, and I'm still smarting from that. So I did not even attempt to try to find party beer company beer. And then I said, is there a beer that has led me to the most nights ending with puking, because party till you puke. That's, And then, I was talking to my wife about this, and, I was trying to do like a make your own 6-pack because the quality of these party beers are not, I didn't want to have to buy a whole case of beer. And she pointed out that a party beer would only be sold in a 24-pack. You would not be able to get it as an individual can. unless it
I
was
like the thinking.
yes.
gotta be
Unless it
big.
was like a novelty oversized beer can, which is what I ended up going with because I did not want to have to buy a whole case of beer.
Right.
And I was right along the same lines as Pat Zapp. I went with Natural Light.
Well, it finally happened. I thought someone was going to duplicate me.
did it!
Oh my God, they're
This-
too big.
This is a big one. It is 20, what is it, 25 ounces?
To party. Let's party.
25 fluid ounces I got of Natural Light. And this is the way this is what I remember of the cans a little bit more.
The red and blue.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
So this is the beer. Yeah, this is going to be a short one.
yeah,
Let's
when-
wrap it up.
We don't even
It's
have to
Natural
vote.
Light.
Yeah.
hot damn. It finally happened.
I laughed
Yes.
when you
Andrew
pulled it out.
WK is Natural Light. It's the ultimate party beer for the ultimate party man. Oh.
The big one.
These 25 ounces, yeah, and it's a party weekend that we're recording too as well. So
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
the perfect.
I mean, here to remember all our fallen soldiers out there.
Correct.
But typically celebrated with some burgers and some beers.
He's not even cracking that can open.
Yeah,
he doesn't
I'm
want
thinking
to.
about it. I don't want to waste.
You wanna take it home,
A full 25.
yeah.
That's exactly
That's a
what I
roadie.
want to do. Yeah. Man.
Hey, when I'm kicking you out, bro, you can hang out. I gotta water the garden. You can join me. I got a lot of
There you
hose.
go.
AWK.
Just groundhog the fight.
You know, I don't know if you at home have ever got to experience Andrew WK at his element of being on stage and performing music live, but I have been so fortunate to have seen Andrew WK. I know he was like a Warped Tour guy. He was a Riot Fest guy.
Yeah.
He
Skate
would,
Surf Fest guy.
And I bet that's fun. But we mentioned earlier that Andrew WK opened up a club in New York. It was called Santos Party House. If I could have found what beer they served at Santos Party House, that would have been Andrew WK. I remember going to this club for the first time. It was an Adult Swim party.
Oh, this was fun.
Andrew WK had a collaboration with Adult Swim for a little while. So it was a big Aqua Teen Hunger Force thing that was being released. So I think the lineup was Andrew WK's first wife, something called Bad Brilliance,
Was that the bunny head dude?
a giant balloon.
Yeah.
You know those costumes where it looks like you're decapitated?
Yeah.
So imagine that, but with like a giant inflatable balloon as the head. That was Bad Brilliance. Natalie Portman's shaped head
Natalie Portman shaved head. That's where we discovered them.
was the semi-main.
You guys got me into
Yeah.
them. That was an
And
amazing
then
album.
Andrew WK headlines. But before that, Andrew WK kind of got his musical inspiration from something called Four on the Floor Disco, where it's a style of like a disco dance beat. So Andrew WK DJ'd for the entire event these just amazing disco, and I thought disco sucked, but these songs were absolutely incredible. Positive vibes. I thought the beer had to be laced with MDMA or something, because I had never actually experienced such like physical positive vibes in one room. Andrew WK takes the stage. He plays one song, and then everybody on the stage joins him on stage for the rest of the show. It was absolutely incredible. I chose not to go on stage, but rather stand on the guardrail between the crowd and the stage, and I grabbed Andrew WK by the leg and like pounded on his foot the entire show. And it was just absolutely incredible. One of the absolute funnest nights I can remember.
Yeah, I did rush on that stage. I had my arm around him. I got to sing a little bit of Party Hard with him. This was outrageously fun. Santos Party House was incredible. It inspired me to actually start doing stage dives, which like I finally started like doing at this point in my life. And I would go up there and I would do backflips off the stage. It was very stupid and dangerous, but it was like everyone, you were just in that world.
You were celebrating life.
And it was
just
like
the best.
120 people. It was just, fun and intimate and just It was really, really incredible.
Yeah. Him letting everyone up on that stage with him was like really special. It felt so fun in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him at Skate and Surf Fest down in Asbury Park, New Jersey, back in 2003. It was like a 3-day festival. I went to all 3 days. It was a long weekend, but I had a blast. He invited people, similar to what you guys experienced. He invited people on the stage to dance and rock out with the band throughout the show. At one point, he had a girl sitting on his shoulders, and he performed. He like sang the whole song with her sitting on his shoulders throughout the whole song. Thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
I also remember his bassist was like this guy. He had like maybe he was redheaded. He had a shaved head. He had mutton chops going, and like he was wearing a wife beater. And it looked like I don't know, I can't remember if it was true or not, but it looked like he was wearing like work boots. So he just looked like this guy that, you know, you pulled off of like some construction site somewhere and was playing bass for him. And it was just, I just remember enjoying that guy like rocking out the whole time as well. So, yeah, that's the only time I saw him, but I still remember it to this day, you know, 20 years later.
Yeah, put on a hell of a show. He had a lot of charisma, and that's why it's hard to believe that it's only anyone but him. You can't like replicate that kind of energy. You know, I think it'd be really difficult.
Unless
Yeah.
you have stage notes for everybody. You know,
Good counterpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so maybe potentially we never got to see the original guy.
Yeah, we just saw.
Well,
the
what year
person who's
did you
better
guys
at
see
it.
him?
09.
Yeah, I saw him in 2003, so I probably saw the original.
Well,
Take that.
Yeah, well, we saw him in college as well, right? So at least I did. I saw him on his speaking tour.
oh.
Yeah. Me and Johnny D.
I once
Once
saw-
again, congrats, Johnny D.
Hey, Daddy D. I once saw Andrew W.K. as a judge of the Philadelphia Mustache and Beard competition.
Beard
I
and
know that-
Mustache Club.
I know that sounds like a made-up thing, but
I was a member.
it actually existed. And so you were a member of the club,
Yes.
and one of your club members was participating in the event.
Yes.
Uh,
Multiples.
Andrew W.K. As a judge, you know, in the deal, you flip the card and you're giving the
Giving the
beard
score
and
for their
a
mustache
score
or their
from-
beard or what have you.
from 0 to 10, and one of your guys got a 3. And I just started screaming at Andrew WK and got his attention, and I was like, "A 3, dude? You're giving that one a 3?" And he just like, very Andrew WK just looked at me. It was just like,
I do remember that now that you're mentioning
yeah, just a non-responsive, like, "What do you want from me?"
yeah. What did I ever do to you?
But I thought it was outrageous he gave that man a 3, and I let him know it. Oh, but I love it. I love his music. Let's do it.
All right.
Top 9.
Happy hour songs on draft. Who wants to get started on this one?
All right. The person who goes first will be the person who can keep this going the most. Slang terms for the word party.
Oh man. Festival.
Gathering.
A shindig.
A happening.
A hootenanny.
A bash.
I'm out. I don't know. This is.
A sock hop.
I guess that's a kind of party. Yeah.
A hayrube.
I'm out. Sorry. Pardon my language. What's going to be the number 1 pick?
A boogie woogie. Oh man. Oh, oof. Guys, it's time to party. That's my first one, dude. I love it. I love it so much.
All right.
It's
so
time to party would be my number 1.
I knew that you didn't like my favorite song of Andrew WK, so that's an easy second pick for me. I'm going with the Party Hard.
Oh, I know. I love Party Hard.
But you didn't like it. You said that wasn't your number 1 song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have picked Party Hard.
I
Party
would've-
Hard, probably my number 2 song.
I probably would have went Party Hard number 1. So I'm gonna go with I Get Wet and then She Is Beautiful.
Man, that's a 1-2 punch I can get down with.
Getting that turn kind of. I'm actually kind of proud about. Happy about.
I'm going to go with the song that was I took personally. I took it to heart when I heard it. The Music Is Worth Living For off of the You're Not Alone album.
Wow. All right. I'm gonna have to go. We Want Fun from the Jackass soundtrack, and to finish it off, I'll go Ready to Die.
Not bad.
All right. Last song for me is what I've done multiple times on many a party nights. The Party Till You Puke
gotta
would be
party
my
till you puke.
yeah. That's my anthem.
Oh, there you go, Dan. Party Till You Puke for you. And No One to Know off that latest album. I want to give him those songs a little bit of love. They're so dramatic. They build. I get really behind things like that.
Yeah, they're epic. Even though I didn't like them in their epicness, they were very epic.
Yeah, definitely. So let's do a quick little recap here. Pat kept it True Blue, Time to Party, We Want Fun, Ready to Die.
I'll run through a brick wall after listening to that playlist.
Dan, Party Hard, Music Is Worth Living For, and Party Till You Puke. Slows it down, comes back up. Sort of like Andrew W.K.'s whole catalog.
There you go.
And I went with I Get Wet, She
Get
Is
Wet.
Beautiful, and then No One to Know. That's it, boys.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had a great one. I had a great experience doing this one with Andrew W.K. I'm really happy to see he came out all right. Not the least, he's getting all that Marvel money from Kat Dennings. Good for him.
Hey,
They're only.
I'm sure there's a
engaged,
prenup, but yeah.
positive thinking leads to positive things. Andrew W.K. has brought so much positivity in the world. I'm glad to see a little positivity coming back at him. This was a blast. A Band and Beers
We don't even have to vote. right?
classic.
Yeah, no voting. Andrew W.K. is Natural Light. We found that one out early.
Hey,
I thought there was a chance there were going to be 2 high lifes here, and I was like, ugh.
Here's the thing. I think that is a party beer. I think it's more personal for us though, as a party beer.
Sure.
I think
Yeah.
the Natural Light
yeah.
encompasses.
Yeah, I was between High Life and Narragansett actually.
Ooh,
So
wow.
like Gansets to me are it's very like regional almost. So it's like a specific kind of crowd.
I thought you were going to go with a beer from Ann Arbor
Oh yeah, I thought
that
about
we
it.
always party with. That two hearts.
Two Hearted. Yeah,
Oh, too hard to pale
we could have
ale.
done Hams. That would have been a nice one, like Midwest party beer.
Mm.
Anyway,
Natural Light though.
Natural
is
Light.
Andrew
Natural
WK.
Light does it.
And the blue and red, it definitely is what I remember the most. I'm gonna have.
And that's in honor of Memorial Day weekend. I think we've done good.
Yeah, we did all right on this one.
Yeah,
So,
all right.
Let's
I
wrap
think
it up.
Yeah, what's our next band, Dusty? You're up.
Yeah, so the next one, I'm gonna do a slice of the catalog because I looked into it and there's way too much, and it would be especially difficult to do. So we're just gonna do the 80s of The Cure.
Ooh.
So I would like to say like anything before 1990 because they actually have some 70s stuff that you should look into
All
as
right.
well.
I might be busy that weekend. You guys let me know how that one goes. This has been the Abandoned Beers podcast, the Andrew WK edition. And from everyone here at Abandoned Beers, this is us saying,
Abandoned Beers.
Abandoned Beers!
a band and beers.
Positivity is not easy to sum up. It's often thought of as the opposite of negativity, or kind of a good mood, an optimism, a perspective that sees things as good in a pervasive sense. And I tend to go with that last outlook. It's a transcendent belief in goodness, that even the bad things in a strange and counterintuitive way are actually good. It's the positivity that contains within it negativity. It's not easy to access that in an intellectual sense, but your heart can feel that. And that's a big part of what the party attitude is about.